I grew up really with no strong faith in any kind of God or creator. When I was growing up, I asked questions, being like a young child and kid in this world. And my dad would just say, we came from dust and we'll go back to the dust, and that's it. When my wife and I first met, I have a cousin in Calgary. He was only 22 years old at the time, and he was diagnosed with brain cancer. And it kind of threw us back, and we just questioned about what the purpose of life is and why. And because we would consider him a good person. And at that time we were doing so much research, watching documentaries. We knew it was probably the diet or the system with GMO foods. So we drastically changed our diet. We became like vegan. We started to get into a lot of meditation. There's a thing called the New Age movement. That's what the name they coin it now. But I just thought it was meditating, knowing that God is God and no religion is needed. It felt like the New Age was the right thing. Things seemed like they were going our way. I was promoted to a supervisor of office employees, like of a group of 30 people. We were able to afford a down payment on our first house, and also as well to have a child, like my wife and I. It just happened all at once, all three. And that stress level, it went from like 0 to 100 in a matter of just months, like to a year kind of thing. As much as I would meditate and try to be as zen as possible, get outside in nature, whatever good luck we could do, you name it, we were doing it. It wasn't really helping. I was still struggling. I started to smoke weed. So my outlet was, it was weed in the evenings. It definitely did get out of hand after a while. It started to be all day, every day weekends. And then eventually it migrated into mornings before work, and then it migrated to lunch times. For those that didn't know I had that addiction, no one knew. And no one knew it at all, except for my wife and myself. 4 years of trying to put this outer performance on and support a new growing daughter and a home and a family. I felt like just anxious and being pulled in so many different directions and wondering if I can make it and provide. And why do I even exist? Like, would it have been better if I didn't exist at all? So after having a lunch walk with this coworker, and we were talking about all the possibilities of all the bad stuff that's happening in the world, and I just asked him, what keeps you going? Like, how can you stay positive knowing all this stuff is happening or possibly happening to us? And he said, my faith in Jesus, and kind of threw me back a bit because he's never preached to me or evangelized to me or even brought it up that he was Christian. That's what kind of sparked me. How do I get the truth without having a mediator? So I'm like, I'm just gonna buy a Bible, and then that's what he recommended too. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna buy a Bible and just start reading the Bible directly, and that's what I did. That's when I started to learn about idols and what I was idolizing, what I was worshiping, and what was my slave master. It was pornography, it was weed. I was really hesitant at the beginning to walk physically into like a physical church and to feel possibly judged. I'm like, okay, there must be something. So I just Googled born again Christian Edmonton churches, and then all of a sudden I run into one that says Celebration Church, and started clicking on some links, and I'm like, hey, they have a streaming service live too? Didn't really have any expectations. I just wanted to take it in and see what it was all about. As I watched, and I'm like, wow, this is pretty awesome. So we continued to watch the next service, the second one online as well too. But I still felt a big part of me that I'm not ready to commit. Didn't feel I was deserving of his love or any kind of forgiveness, or how could we move on from here. This is the third online streaming service now. It was one of those mornings where having a new toddler, it was just hectic everywhere. I told my wife, I'm gonna go upstairs to the bedroom, one of the bedrooms, and just watch the service up there. During that service, when Pastor Dennis was explaining what God's grace was, and he said it's God loving us as is. It's not by our works, but it's first by our faith. And Jesus changes our heart first, and it goes from there. Really, that's how much love God has for us. And I'm just letting out all this emotion because he started his prayer and he asked, can you raise your hand? Who's this prayer for? And as if I was like, he was speaking to me directly too. So I was raising my hand in that room by myself and just saying that prayer and breaking down into tears. I was just so excited. I ran downstairs to the kitchen. I told my wife, we have to go in person. Let's jump in our car. It's only like half an hour away from here. So during that service, when she went in person at 12 o'clock service, at the end, during that prayer, my wife also gave her life to Christ as well too. I thought I could change myself, but what it took a lot of prayer, because only Jesus can change us. I've been able to successfully conquer my addiction to porn, conquer my addiction to smoking weed. February 26th, 2017, I was water baptized. It just feels really awesome to know that we're not alone. We're just so grateful and so blessed to be able to have this relationship with Christ.